All right, so let's go ahead and start with our IXL. We have evaluate the expression for u equals -1. So I'm just going to write that part down. And our equation is, or our expression is u minus 2 divided by u minus 4. So we're going to replace u with -1 minus 2 divided by, again, I'm just going to put that in parentheses so I know that's what I replaced, minus 4. I've got -1 minus 2 is -3. -1 minus 4 is -5. Well, that's not completely simplified because I know a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So our answer would be 3/5. Number 2, we're going to evaluate for q is equal to 9. So we've got q minus 2 divided by -q plus 10. Be real careful when they put the negatives inside the expression because you want to make sure that if q was negative, that you would have a double negative as opposed to just this single negative. So we've got q is equal to 9. We're going to do 9 minus 2. And then that negative is outside of q, and q is 9. So we're going to put our negative outside, q, and the 9 inside. We've got 9 minus 2, which is 7. -9 plus 10. And so that would give us 7/1. And that would just equal 7. Number 3 says, let's evaluate for t is equal to 1. So we've got 5 multiplied by t divided by -t plus 9. So we're going to replace t with 1. And again, we've got that negative outside of t, but t is the value of +1. So we want to make sure that we differentiate that. 5 times 1 is 5. -1, this imaginary negative out here, -1 times 1 is -1 plus 9. So we've got 5. -1 plus 9 is +8. So 5/8 would be our answer. Let's look at number 4. We've got r is equal to 1. And our expression is -5r plus 7 divided by r minus 4. So we're going to replace r with +1 plus 7, and then we're going to divide by r becomes +1 minus 4. So we've got -5 times 1 is -5 plus 7. 1 minus 4 is -3. Now hopefully you realize that we are using PEMDAS a lot, and we have to, because if we don't, we'll get a wrong answer. So we've got +2 over -3. You could write it this way, you could write it this way, or you could write it this way. All three of those are perfectly fine. Now number 5 says that we're going to evaluate for c is equal to 3. So we've got 3c divided by -c minus 3. So we've got 3 multiplied by 3. Negative c is 3, so we're replacing c with 3, minus 3. That gives us 9 over -1 times 3 is -3 minus 3. So that gives us 9 over -6. Well, we have to simplify this. And we know that 3 goes into both 9 and 6 evenly without a remainder. So we are going to simply divide by 3, divide by 3. So we've got 3 over negative 2. Or I can just put negative 3 over 2. It's fine, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and look at number 6. We've got s is equal to not negative 1, but positive 1. So negative 6s plus 7. And then we've got s minus 8. So that becomes negative 6 times positive 1 plus 7 over 1 minus 8. So negative 6 times 1 is negative 6 plus 7. 1 minus 8 is negative 7. So we've got negative 6 plus 7 is positive 1 over negative 7. So that equals negative 1 over 7. And notice that I'm writing these just in different ways so that you can see it doesn't really matter. Let's look at number 7. We've got z is equal to 2. And so our expression is z minus 6 divided by negative 5z plus 3. So z becomes 2 minus 6 and negative 5 times positive 2 plus 3. Now it doesn't really matter if you use these parentheses or not. I'm just using them to show that I actually did a substitution. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4. We've got negative 5 times 2, which is negative 10. And then we're going to add 3 to that. So we've got negative 4. Negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. Well, we know a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so that would be 4 over 7. All right, on this one, we've got c is equal to 5, and our expression is 6 multiplied by negative c plus 6, and then c minus 7. So we've got 6 negative 5 plus 6 over, or divided by, 5 minus 7. Well, I'm just going to simplify this. I've got 6, and then this becomes negative 1 times positive 5, negative 5 plus 6 over 5 minus 7. PEMDAS says do what's in the parentheses first. So negative 5 plus 6 is positive 1, and then we've got 5 minus 7. So we actually end up with 6 over negative 2, because 5 minus 7 is negative 2. And to simplify this, we're going to divide negative 2 into positive 6, and we get negative 3. Let's look at number 9. We've got, this time we've got 2 variable values. Y is equal to negative 2, and z is equal to negative 5. And our expression is z minus y divided by negative y plus 8. So z is negative 5, so we're going to replace z with that. Now, this subtraction sign says subtract the value of y. The value of y is negative 2. Please be very, very careful with that. So we've got minus the value of y, which is negative 2, plus 8. So we've got negative 5 plus 2, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2 plus 8. So we've got negative 3 over 10. Look at number 10 itself. We've got a is equal to 2 and b is equal to negative 1. So we've got 5. A times b cubed divided by b minus 8. So we've got 5. We're going to replace a with 2. We're going to replace b with negative 1. And we're cubing just the b term, and then we've got negative 1 minus 8. So we know according to order of operations we we should do the exponents first. So negative 1 cubed is simply negative 1. Negative 1 minus 8. And multiplication is commutative. So that means it doesn't matter how I multiply, whether I multiply left to right or right to left, I'm going to get the same answer. So 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. Negative 1 minus 8 is negative 9. And that gives us 10 over 9. Number 11, we've got S is equal to negative 2 and T is equal to negative 1. So we've got 3S over 7T. So 3 multiplied by negative 2, 7 multiplied by negative 1. So that gives us negative 6 over negative 7, which is the same as 6 over 7. Or 6 divided by 7, that's a better way to say that. Number 5. No. Oh, that was 11. I was like, we've done more than 5 problems. This one's number 12. We've got W is equal to 5 and X is equal to negative 1. So we've got 2WX cubed. So that's 2 multiplied by W multiplied by X cubed divided by W minus X. So 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by negative 1 cubed divided by 5 minus, again, X is negative 1. So we've got 2 multiplied by 5, negative 1 cubed is negative 1. 5 minus negative 1 is the same as saying 5 plus 1. So we've got 2 times 5, which is 10, times negative 1, which is negative 10, over positive 6. Now, these can be simplified by 2. So 2 goes into negative 10, negative 5 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. And it's going to stay negative because we only have one negative sign. Number 13, we've got P is equal to negative 1 and Q is equal to negative 3. And our expression is Q squared divided by negative P cubed minus 9. So Q squared, Q is negative 1, so we're going to do negative 1 squared. And then we've got negative, oh, I'm glad I caught that. I was going too fast. Q is actually negative 3. So we're going to go negative 3 squared. Whew. Come all this way and get that one wrong. Oh, that would have been good. So negative, and P is negative 1. And we're going to cube that minus 9. And I think it was, I was just going so fast and I wasn't paying attention. So negative 1 cubed is negative 1 minus 9. So we've got 9 over negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1 minus 9. So we've got 9 over or divided by 1 minus 9, which is negative 8. Number 14, we've got, move this up here, B is equal to 1 and C is equal to 6. Our equation or expression rather is B minus 6 divided by B multiplied by C. So B is 1, I'm replacing that, minus 6 divided by B is 1 and C is 6. So we've got 1 minus 6, which is negative 5, 1 times 6, which is positive 6. So our answer would be negative 5 divided by 6. Now, I'll go ahead and do this one just to have that final one there because it does look a little bit different. Process is the same, but sometimes I know that you guys go, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with that. So hold on. All right, so we've got b is equal to 3. C is also equal to 3. We've got c minus 6 squared divided by b squared. So c is 3 minus 6. I'm going to square that result. B is 3, and we're going to square that result. So 3 minus 6, because PEMDAS says do parentheses first, is negative 3. We're going to square that result, and we still have 3 squared on the bottom. Now we're going to do exponents. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is also positive 9. So our result is 1. All right, now you go forward and get 100. I'll talk to you later.